Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Anna, and in today's video, I'll be teaching us how to master auto layout in 10 minutes. Auto layout can take our design skills from 0 to 100 real quick. So on this particular video, we'll be learning how to create buttons with auto layout, how to have absolute positioning on auto layouts, the wrap fixtures on auto layouts, the dynamic spacing system on auto layouts, as well as the fill, the org, and the fix resizing in auto layouts for all our elements and how to create dynamic UI element that we can use in all our projects. So if this is something you're interested in, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. So the first thing is you're going to create a button. There are two ways to create a button. The first one is write a text. Write a text and convert the text to a frame by right-clicking and selecting frame selection area. Now we can have the auto layout options. Auto layout option is only available for frames, so you have to have a frame before you can add auto layouts. So add auto layouts, here we have 8. So this is the spacing between them. So now we have the vertical layout and the horizontal layout. Just think about this as the direction in which your element is going to in an auto layout. So I'm going to make an example. So if I have this, if I duplicate this, you can see this goes to this direction. But if I change this to the vertical, you can see it is just vertical direction or horizontal. But for buttons, it will always be horizontal. So I'm just going to keep that as horizontal. And 8 is the spacing between the two elements highlighted here. You can see the spacing between the two elements is 8, if that is what you want. So now for here, we have the padding left and right, and the padding top and bottom. So in here, I'm just going to go in and make this 24, then make this 12. And here you can see the alignment. You want this to put as align center. Always ensure it is align center. Now you want to add fill to this. And I'm going to change this to 0 to black so that we can see what this is about. I'm going to change this to 12. And this here, our button is ready. This is our button. Another way to create a button is have a frame first and add a text inside your frame. Then select the frame and click on auto layouts. So like we have, this is 24, this is 12, this is I think 8. Yeah, and we just have a button. So that's a way to create a button. So the first one we are going to do is we are going to create these two types of button we have on this particular design. So I'm going to duplicate this. And to create this button, all we have to do is have this button here. I'm going to delete this. Turn on my grid cursor, I'll be needing it here. So this button is a full width button that is across the screen. So I just have this here. So you can see this is centered. If this is centered to the top, now we can see the difference here. If to the right, you can see the difference, but this is to the center. And we can have just what we have before. So what this does is the moment we increase the size of this changes from org content, this is org content, to fixed. So the moment you change the width from org content to what? To fixed. So means this is a fixed width in which your element is inside. It is no longer, the spacing is going to determine what width it's going to have. Before with the org contents, right? You can see this is the width. So it is dynamic. Depending on the text you have, the width is going to change. But with the fixed content, the content is not going to change the width of the elements. But it can still change the height. So that's how I did that. So to show you can still change the height, but not the width. So yeah, that's how to create this particular button. So we want to create this second button we have up here. So what we can do is come in here. We already have this already. So what we can do is create a more dynamic that can have a text and two texts aligned to the left and to the center. So an example will be, this is it. This is exactly 8, just what we have, just having a different text. And what we can do is here, instead of 8, I'm just going to make this auto. What auto does is it shares like the spacing between here. The spacing between is going to be automatic. So the text is going to determine what the spacing is going to be. So if I change this to $45, you can see the spacing just changed. And if I change this to book section, you can see it is just there and it is auto. One great thing about this is, let's move this a bit to the top. One great thing about this is, if I duplicate this and delete this particular element, it still gives us what we have before because it is centered. It's aligned to the top and to the center. It's aligned to the center. It's just one element. And the moment I add another element, it just changes. So just this is how this is designed, and that's how you can use auto layouts, and auto layouts fixed works. So another thing we are going to design is this particular element here, design elements here, the selection button that we have here. So in this situation, we have selections. I'm going to ungroup this. So this is already an auto layout element. You can see 16, 8, 8, and the text is 16 regular. Yeah, so you can create that. We already have them as auto layouts. All I'm going to do is select them. So you can have a nested auto layout, which means an auto layout inside another auto layout. So that's what I'm going to do here. And it can just be an auto layout inside another auto layout, inside another auto layout, inside another auto layout. You can do it as many as possible. Just make sure it is very easy to manage and it doesn't end up being too complicated for other people on your team to use. So now back to this, I've selected everything. I'm going to add another auto layout. So I'm going to make it here that you can see this is the vertical layout, this is the horizontal, but this is what we want. We want the user to be able to see the options, and we should remember that the data for this is not something that we have control over. This is going to be based on what the platform is about, what people are interested in, topics that people have made for themselves, or what people are actually interested in basically. So you can see for this, both the left and both the horizontal and the vertical is not working. So what we can do is use a wrap. So this is what a wrap does. So this is a wrap. The wrap wraps all elements in a particular. So now it just has a fixed and a arc. But the fix is dynamic in a way whereby this is going to wrap all elements in that frame. So we have 16 here, and if you want the top bottom to be 8, we have 8. And as much as you're creating more, it is so dynamic. It is so dynamic that everything just keeps going. So this is what wrap is basically used for. So with wrap, you can decide this. You can still have your padding left, bottom, all of that, but we do not need it. The truth is we do not need it. And the second thing is you should check the layout for this. This is align left. I want this left centered. So you can be centered with centered. You can see how this changes centered. With this to the right, you can see how it changes to the right. So just ensure you use the right alignments when you're creating this. So this is the way you can wrap things. If you have multiple options you want to give to the user and still keep a consistent system around it. This is it. This is 16. This is it. This is 16. This is it. So that is how to create that. Moving forward, we are going to learn about absolute positioning. So absolute positioning is what I'm going to teach us on this navigation. So I'm going to play this navigation, and so let's say this navigation has a fixed, you can say fixed width and a org content, which is auto, which means the space between them is automatic depending on what it is. And the moment I actually click on this, you can see it is like auto. If I change this to 56, you can see it is 56, but you see it is 56, but the moment it is auto, it means it just takes based on the element. So now in here, we have another element here on this particular this. You can see it actually was, so it's because it is absolute position. I'm going to remove it from absolute position and see where it is. You can see it's part of the element. So now we want it to be, absolute position works in a way whereby you have an element that not layout, but you want to manually determine where it will be placed, the position of that particular element. So that's what absolute positioning is. So we have this three, this six frame inside this auto layout. We have this six elements inside this auto layout, but this has to be placed right here at the top of the home. So what I'm going to do is select that particular element, come in here. This is where you're going to find the absolute positioning and click on absolute positioning. So what this does, you can see what this does immediately is that it just remove that from the elements you are going to share the spacing with. So you just go there. I'm going to take this to the, align this to the top, then in here, then I'll just move this. So this is where I want it to be, this element. If I select this frame, this element is actually in this frame, but the position is absolute. So here, if I click on this, you can see the absolute position just changed, but this is where it's just low. So it means you can manually, more than one element, make them decide their position even inside an auto layout. So that's what absolute positioning is. So one next we're going to learn is the fill. We already know how contents, but we do not know how fill work. We know how fixed work. We know how wrap works, but we don't know how fill works. So this particular element, I'm going to remove this from an auto layout. I'm going to explain how you can create this particular element. So this is an element where this is an auto layout. The reason why this is an auto layout is this layout structure is horizontal. It's different from the vertical that we have in this design. So this is horizontal. So I already created this as its own auto layout, centered auto, which means depending on the fixed width, the spacing between them it changes. So the second thing is we have another auto layout that includes these two, the title of this block and this element, the timer. So what we have here is 8. The reason for this having this another auto layout is because the spacing is going to be different from this, which is 12. So what I'm going to do is select this. Now we already have one element, two elements, is spacing of 12. If this spacing between these two elements, the title and this element is going to be 12, and you do not have to have it in another auto layout. Just add this. It's just going to be 3 elements, but the same spacing, right? The same spacing. So what I have here is select this, add auto layouts, and we have 12, 12, 12. So my padding top, bottom, left and right is 12, 12, 12. Then the spacing between them is what? 12. If I make this 8, you can see that. So this is 12, and by default, like I said, it's always org content, which means the size of this element is going to be based on what we have here, and the width is going to be based on what we have here. But that's not what we want. We want a dynamic system that, regardless of what this content is, the width, the height is fixed. So you want the height that is always fixed, not like this one is much shorter than this, because we have to put them in the way we want to design this. So first thing we want is the height, make sure the height is fixed. So what happens when we have a fixed height? I'm going to go in here and duplicate this and change this title to, let me just copy this. I just duplicate that here. So you can see this is fixed, but the spacing is just sort of out of the word. So what we are going to do is we have this. So it means if this is the title and this change, we have these two elements, even though the height is the same thing, the way it is, the spacing between them is just not what we want. So what we are going to do is come here and select this particular element. The elements you want to take up the remaining space here, the excess space here, and instead of fixed, choose fill container, which means this one is going to fill the extra space. Just think about it as filling all the extra space of that particular element. So that's what you can do. So that's the way we can create. So it means if I have this here that says money making, it's still few. So you can see this is just one line, this is two lines, this is three lines. You can see how dynamic it works with auto layouts. So, and finally, we are going to learn the fill. We're still learning about still on fill, right? We use fill for height. We can use it for width as well. So this is a way we can use it for fill. For width, so I'm going to duplicate this. And for this situation, right, I want this to be fixed height, right? So we're going back to fixed height. And I want this to be, okay, I want to be fixed height. And I want this to be fill container. So which means with this change. And I want this to be fill container. So what this does is, okay, let me change this to fixed so we can see what it does in the first place. So what this does is, if I'm increasing this, you can see this is just staying here because it is fixed. That's the size. Meanwhile, I want this to respond to this, so I'll do it. I'll make this fill container. So you can see this is actually responding because it is fill, right? So I want it to be fill, so it actually responds to this. Another thing is I want the height here. I want it to be what up content too. So this, so it means regardless of whatever it is that I have here, and the size, just keep going. You can see, so it is, like I said, responsiveness, a system that is dynamic. That's the reason why you need an auto layout, which is what I did for which is what we have here. This is what we have here. So you can see what I'm talking about. So yeah, if this video has been helpful for you and you've learned one or two, please join the family. I'm looking to grow this channel to 1,000 subscribers. So please do not forget to subscribe, like, and share this with your friends. So see you next time. Thank you.